So hi everyone, today in this video we're gonna develop another mental model that obviously can be important for you since as much more information you got about how the reality works and as much more you have methodologies that so constantly are applied for making absorption, so to interpretation the data that you got from the reality, better your system will produce in terms of quality of outputs. That what are the outputs of decision making is so actions that you take, and actions that you take is what ultimately brings the prosperity that you want. And then so obviously I think the value of why developing mental models is safe helps you to get more prosperity in your life. And then so I expect this was enough to make you be convinced to subscribe, putting a like in this video, and then so go for gain more insight. And then so what are you going to talk about today? The experience economy. So this is a one taken from the business world and talks about turning products into memorable experiences. So what I could call, and I will start this as introduction, first understand business world. It's what? Business world, it's a type of game that you have people, the consumers, that they have needs. And then so they went there with resources, money, that they are so in approval that they will have so to deliver for someone in exchange of that same someone providing me something valuable back in exchange. And we have so the competition that knows that I have to produce something valuable for people, consumers, that I know that if I provide it for you, I'm gonna receive money back. And what is my objective as a business owner is making it with profit. So the cost that I have to deal in terms of money, in terms of time, all reduced to a specific unity. I will say that can be money. So I kind of see what is the resources that I spend. It's something clearly I've spent a specific quantity of money, but as well I spend my time, and I can specify my time. And then so I have a total type of costs that were so the ones that comes with producing something valuable. And I expect that I receive more than what I spent. It's my maximize. I try to maximize this. As a consumer, I'm trying to maximize spending as much less as possible in comparison with as much more I can get. So what happens here? Different wishes. That's why the business world is not something that's static, it's not something that's always evolving. Because, or do we have monopolies that we have one unity that's so their wishes will, the market will more satisfy their wishes. In a monopoly, it's so the supply, it's so the business owners that have something that's unique, exclusive, and something that makes different from other ones. And then so you have more power because other ones depends of your product, like your product, but they don't have alternatives, so they have less power to change and to require lower prices, while you are in a bad position. Obviously can happen the completely opposite. I can have in a market that is more defined with price wars, low differentiation, a lot of supply, the demand is not enough to justify the quantity of supply, and then so obviously markets that most satisfies the wishes of the consumers. And understanding it, what so it's the scenario that you want so to be present is the scenario of you as a business owner being and having more power, so having a lot of demand going for you and not being that much of supply because other ones cannot be a competition with you. And we have something that justifies and is something that can happen in micro scenarios. So people that focus in niche markets are people so that tend to perform well, or someone that obviously the ones that even have more, that creates billionaires, owners, that are the ones that can produce products that the generalized population consume it, having so scale above the product that I offer, and then so I have a lot of people buy my product, and obviously this quantity by the profit margin creates so a lot of profit for me. But then so what you have to focus in producing something that has differentiation, something is better than other ones cannot touch. That's why I focus so much about competitive advantages. and in a good scale, so I can provide it to enough amount of people, then so creates even higher totally profit. But then so what talks about experience economy is understanding so I can redefine what I intend by deliver in a way that so increments and so improves the value that's perceived by the people, increasing so my spectrum and how I differentiate from other ones. So this experience economy model is so a model that explains where and how companies create memorable and engaging experience to drive consumer loyalty and differentiation. That's something that we see that is useful. Consumer loyalty increases the quantities in the spectrum of time, and differentiation is as well something that increases the perception of value that so creates this consumer loyalty and as well creates a good type of quantity of people consuming so a product. But then so how you create it? What are the key elements of experience economy? These are things that you have to focus in your product. Personalization, tailoring experience to individual consumer preference. Why some business cannot so perform? Because they perform something that are too much generalist in terms of for each specific unit, each specific people that I'm trying to sell. It's not a type of product that is what I do like more. So it's like a problem. Or you focus in just attending a specific niche and improving and developing your product just in accord with the wishes of them, or you produce something that's more generally something that it's not like something that people agree is 100%, and then depends probably more in markets that you don't have that much of competition. So if we have a specific tech that is good, but it's not like totally personalized for my meetings, but if you don't have competition, the level of reference of value is much lower, and then people will perceive you as valuable enough to be both. But if you're in a competitive market, it's difficult so to perform because you have always trying to compete with niche markets that focus in each specific segment. And if you produce something for a lot of segments, you're not gonna take neither one of them because you always have competition with something that is more customized, more personalized for so specific segments. And then so you have to understand that the product is much more valuable as more personalized they tends to be. And then so a goal type of way is making a product be personalizable depending of the wish of each person that it does, and making it them being easier to be done. So what is a tendency that I see today, for example, in the cloth market, is the consumers being able to personalize the design of their own t-shirts, but what's probably something that's even harder to do today is making it easier to do, which is something that as well is important to define the opportunity cost of making this action. But then so the tendency is for the future is personalization, assuming even more power that so you can apply in your business to make you have differentiation. Engagement, so another thing that's important, making consumers active participants, not just passive buyers, because making them active participants can increase your probability to get even more, what I call as network effect. So if you have active type participants, other ones so will understand people are liking your product in comparison if they are like passives, if they don't so get their touch that are like consumers. And network effects happens when me, for example, see that a lot of people are liking a product, they have so to spread, they have to manifestate their liking to me, understand that exist people that like a product, and so obviously I will tend to have bad magnet effect. If other ones are doing, I have a higher likelihood to do it as well. Storytelling, another thing that's important to making you create differentiation, creating a compelling narrative around the brand. We make and we like to hear histories as much more so there as well. They're spread more type of significance there, so a product is other than just like the technological differentiation. You as well have to focus in something that can be a bit more artificial, but it's something that as well does matter. Immemorability as well, I think that's important. Ensuring consumers live with the lasting impressions. So even worse than having like a bad reputation is not being recognized, and it's important. So if you want people to spread information about you exist, so to make you cut because they have to pay with marketing, is probably so making people memorize what's your product and so spreading the experience that they have with other ones, making like a strategy of marketing at the lower cost possible, that is so people at their home by memorizing spreading so the information of the existence of your product. We have real world examples. Starbucks selling coffee isn't enough, they create a relaxing welcome third place between home and work. Disney theme parks aren't just rides, they're full immersive storytelling experience. And we have the Apple Store, they don't just sell gadgets, they create hands-on experience where consumers explore and interact. So I think the content of this video was clear, what I was about to pass. I hope this makes you gain more insights, and with that much more to say, I just can say thank you and see you in the next one.